Welcome, Shift Crew and Empath Nation, to the Obsidian Blade Medicine Hour. Boom. If you are catching this live on the replay, I am so welcome. I am so grateful. I am so happy. I am so existing that you are here together with me as we discuss all things Shift, New Earth, and reclaiming your power as a creator. Just turning down my headphone volume. So here we are. Independence Day, July 4th, 2018. I am here in the United States. The land of opportunity. It's true. It's the land of opportunity. And I know a lot of you right now can feel, and rightfully so, completely bummed out with, it's hard sometimes to think of your country as separate than the governing body that operates the operating system of your country. They go hand in hand, right? They're supposed to be your representatives. In a democratic society, those in, I hate to say this word, those in power, that's got to get changed. Those in power are supposed to represent not only your interests, but who you are as a being, what your values are, what your concerns are, what your vision for your own world is, what you need. And isn't it weird that currently we still live in an existence where who you are, what you need, and what your vision is not represented? It's not represented at all. And when it's attempted to be represented, it's met with resistance, anger, racism, a colonized mindset, anger for your existence, anger for your rights. So on Independence Day, the theme of this hour that I'm so glad you're here with me on is that we are needing more than ever to become independent from our world as it is currently created. Because we're in a state of shift, right? This is the shift. This show is all about shift and how you manage it and how you handle it. And we are needing all to become independent from the world as it is currently manifested, if we hope to land on New Earth, to actually cross that gap between worlds and make it to New Earth. And it's going to take a lot more than just hope. But I love the theme of independence. So I think you can feel proud that you do live in an age, if not a country, you do live in an age of independence, that you can strike out on your own and create the world that is true to your heart. And we have to begin where we are. And I know a lot of us want change. And the way we've been hooked into this system so far is that we have to, or that we've been trained to ask the system for our own independence. We've been trained to ask the system to reflect what we need rather than being strong and independent and claiming our independence and declaring what we need and not relying upon anybody else to get that handled. So you want change. That's why you're here. That's why we're hanging out. You want shift, but you feel it's hard. You feel like the world outside of you is chaotic and depressing. And you'd be right to notice that. It is chaotic and depressing. And we'll get into that. God, I want to expand on that right now, actually. The outside world is chaotic and it's depressing if you attach yourself to it. And so this is really why there's a call to become independent from the chaos and the subsequent depression of all these systems collapsing and you being misrepresented in a system that's going away. That's kind of a good thing. You know, your waking life, because of this, can be filled with complaints. And even worse, it's filled with complaints you've had for so long that you actually can't hear them anymore because they are on autopilot, which then leads to a serious case of depression because you feel like you have no power to get what you desire. You feel under attack and minimized. And there seems to be a list of people that you have close to you in your life that don't share your worldview, or that they knew you in a different way. And so you are shy and scared to be who you really are. You sacrifice yourself in the name of not upsetting others, or, you know, pleasing others who just so that they can maintain this image of you, or you're maintaining an image and they're maintaining an image, and it's an image you don't even want. You know, and these people that you have close into your life that you are maintaining this fake image with, they're called family. They're old friends. They're workmates. They're your neighbors, and they're your society. People who knew you when you didn't really know who you were. You didn't know who the authentic you was, you know? So you have been in hiding. And again, this long-term hiding has led to a submission of your truth. And then that submission of truth has gotten you into a bit of depression. And then also living in a society that takes advantage of your depression, a society that takes advantage of you not knowing who you really are. And if you've been shy for so long, if you've continued that pattern, you will even lose grasp of how to be who you really are. The actual mechanics of how to be who you are, the feeling of it in your body. You will be so out of practice and momentum and muscular memory that it can take years before you can be totally fluid with speaking and living your truth fearlessly. And, you know, a question to ask is, how many years do you really have here to get your expression together, to get back in touch with your truth so that it not only pleases you and feels great and you live it, but it also shows others in this chaotic time of collapse the way out, a model of change. So how do we do all that? We're going to get into that in a second. I just want to say again, I am so grateful that you're here on the Obsidian Blade Medicine Hour. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell to let you know when we go live, which just so happens to be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you can't catch it, of course, these are always available forever as long as YouTube continues to exist. And also the audio is taken from these episodes and just cleaned up a little, made shiny and sparkly, and put on Google Play, iTunes, and Stitcher. So please go to the obsidianblade.com/subscribe, and you can find all the links to those services. And also, of course, the links to everything will be below this video for your convenience. So again, grateful that you are here. Boo, switching out the slide. Oh, no, don't do that. Go back. Option D. And it's live, baby. It's not anything. It's not Memorex. It's live. Uh, and if you are new to this channel, so grateful you are here. Here's what we do. As empaths, healers, and creators blossoming into our full abilities, we navigate the exit of the crumbling matrix slave system, aka the land of the dead, through the exploration and cleansing of your shadow side so that you come back to life and become the shift to live in your full power on New Earth in the light of the sixth sun star system. I've got the maps. We are the crew. Let's do this. So again, identifying with this struggle for independence and being your authentic self, and to get yourself out of that darkness of the depression that can come with being subjected to so much outside stimulus. It's like you're at war, like you're constantly having to defend yourself from the outside. And there is so much outside of you right now that looks crazy, right? So to reclaim our power, to reclaim our power and then express who we really are, we're really needing to divorce ourselves from external reality. We're really having to give zero fucks about what's going on. And that can be hard to do because people are suffering. But if we're so caught up in a mental paradigm that the struggles or the intensity of the chaos outside of us, that we somehow are, as an individual, tasked with trying to heal the whole thing, then that can be very overwhelming. Again, classic book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. There's, in the beginning, a part on these 2 circles that are in your life. You know, your circle of concern and your circle of influence. And because of the connectedness of our world right now, which is fantastic, that also leaves us open to being concerned with way too much that's way outside of our circle of influence. These days, the most important circle to have a handle on is the circle of yourself. Let me get some water. Because if we don't have a handle on how to change our life, then we're not going to have a handle on how to help others. And we are influencing each other. There is scientific study out there that shows that we actually change each other's DNA. And that the environment and the people in your life affect you dramatically. So one of the first stages to being who you are is to create an active declaration of independence from people who suck. And to really take some responsibility and see where you're complaining. And like I said in the beginning, sometimes we complain for so long that we actually forget that we're complaining about something, or that something is uncomfortable to us, and we actually end up being numb to our complaints and putting those complaints on an autopilot, and they're still running in the background. You're still uncomfortable. You still don't like this situation. You're still complaining about it, but you've done it so much that it's become who you are. Someone who's compromised, someone who's complaining, and someone who's overwhelmed by a situation or a person or a thing. And we have got to wake up to where we have fallen asleep in regards to our needs. And say it's not necessary to experience them. It may be your karma, it may be your lesson. And as you wake up to these things, you find your strength because you remember choice is possible, even though you may have grown up in a family situation or a society or culture that has drilled down into you ideas of tradition or your role play within the community or your role play within a family dynamic. And that's tough because, again, these things are your total world. They're like the operating system of not only your interactions, but the actual fishbowl in which you live. But we have to remember, even as hard as that may be, as reality defying as that may be, every moment is a choice. And every choice has its consequences. There's action, reaction, cause and effect and cause. Now, where we want to find liberation and independence is not being the rat on the continual wheel of action, reaction, cause and effect and cause. We want to actually get into that space where we are causing an effect because we have chosen different. And to choose different is to first become somewhat incredibly indifferent to your circumstances. If you want to be able to see clearly where you are, you're going to have to detach. Be aware, though, not to detach in a cruel manner where you're mean to people or that you're somehow victimized by the outside. So then, therefore, you need to play the tyrant and then punish people. That will get you into more drama of your existing operating system agreement. But you're needing distance. I mean, you meditate to gain distance. You go on a retreat to gain distance. And if you need to do those things, do those things. Definitely have a regular meditation practice daily. For me, it's 7 days a week, 1 hour a day minimum is my meditation schedule. And a meditation, again, is one of the most rebellious acts you can have in your life because it turns off the entire world. It completely says, I don't have to engage. And it's a moment where you can remember your liberty of choice to be independent from the outside circumstances of your current life. And in those moments of retreat, we have to remember you've got 2 bank accounts that you can spend your energy on. Maintaining who you were and all the subscriptions to the beliefs that maintain the world as it is, which includes your complaining, your subconscious complaining, and then your subsequent depression. Or you can do the work and reclaim how you're spending your personal power, your attention, and your energy, and say, I'm taking that out of that application. I'm no longer applying my source-given awareness to what's driving me up the wall. I'm just not even giving notice, sucking it right out and going, now I can actually invest in myself and place the energy into possibilities that feel awesome. And it's interesting, again, we're influencing each other and your environment matters. And so I think this is really interesting. Again, we've got to make the connection between all things. And we say a lot of things, but we don't really feel them in the spiritual community or the New Age community. We say a lot of things, but we don't feel them. And one of the fundamental understandings that seems to be true for those who have not lost their way, aka the indigenous of this world, our brothers and sisters who are still connected to the earth, the common understanding is that we are the children of Mother Earth. We are the dream of Mother Earth, as Mother Earth is a dream of the sun. And so if you are the child of the earth and she is shifting because the sun is shifting, then that means you too are also the earth shift. You too are also the sun shift. You are not disconnected. And so, do you catch that? It's a major point of empowerment. Where we stop being victimized or thinking something's greater than us when we are that greatness. If the sun births the earth and the earth births us, then we are part of that family. And so if they, our parents, sun and earth, are shifting, we too are shifting, but we're also causing the shift. We're owning the shift. And so when we do this level of work of shifting and cleansing and placing ourselves within the timing of life, within the cosmos, then we are falling right in step with the rhythm of this shift. And then there's no worry of whether or not you're going to be on time with the shift or you're going to be left behind on the fifth world as we transition to the sixth world. You won't be left behind in the chaos of old Earth because you'll be right in step with life on new Earth because you have chosen to be independent from the world as it is right now and removing yourself from a paradigm where there are people in power, oh my God, to remember that you are the power. You're no longer waiting for others to make good decisions because you become the good decision yourself. And that's why we do this. These are the major benefits to discovering where you have sunken yourself down into a depression, saying that this is the way the world is, and to reclaim your power and cleanse that mindset that agreed to that in the first place, to remember your choice and then become independent from the effects of the collective who has dreamed that dream, and connect with what is real, which is life. Come back to life and dream a new dream with your tribe, with your family, with the family of life. You have a voice, you have desires, you have the impulse and the care to dream a better world, and to get to that place where you have shifted yourself into a good space so that you can help others, because now you know how to help yourself. The benefit of doing this work is being the level of service you know in your heart that you came here to be. You know, again, we all want the change. And to do that, we stop complaining that, hey, why doesn't other people change? Because you haven't shown the way. You haven't become the change yourself. You haven't shown the way first. People are waiting in your life, either through social media in the way you show up there, or in your community, or in your relationships, or in your family, or in your workplace. You need to become the change without waiting for anybody else or complaining about anybody else, because they're waiting for you to be it first. They're waiting for you to show the way. Remember, catch yourself if you're complaining about why aren't people doing better? Because you haven't shown them how first. You haven't shown the way. Be a way shower. Be a way shower. You must be the hero who has remembered themselves. And then make daily, minute by minute choices that support your blossoming into the full picture you desire. Become independent from the sickness that is around you and lead the way in your own life. And again, then we can finally show up and live as the example that we are demanding that the world know about and live up to. So live up to your own desires around this fulfillment. And I'd say the final way to do this, the call to action that we can have in our life, the actual action step, is to, again, catch where you're complaining, catch where you are subconsciously complaining, and find people who inspire you and drop people who don't. You're going to have to take that inventory and say, it's time to clean house of your own thinking and actions and feelings. But also, I think week by week, drop one person who's dragging you down that you can drag, or spend less time with them, whatever it is, and then include one more person who really lifts you up. And I'm not talking about someone who caters to your bullshit, lifts you up, because that's not a real friend. That's just someone enforcing you, or how do they say it in a drug addiction? That's just someone who's enabling you to be victimized. That's not a good friend. I'm talking about like a strong personality, someone who is really aiming high, someone who might actually even be higher than where you're at, but hang with someone who inspires you on that level. And if you can't find them physically, then that's why we have YouTube. That's why we have Instagram, to find someone who's really living it and hang out. And may I do my best to live my life in truth so that I can be one of those people for you. I am here for you, and you can always hit me up in the DMs, or go to the website, send me an email, find me on Instagram. Whatever you need to do, I'm here for you, and that's why I'm doing this. This is for us. The other call to action that you can make, the change that you can make in your life, is change your environment. This can be as simple as changing what's in your room. From the pictures that you have hung up on the walls, creating an altar that will also be an anchor for what you represent and what you feel, to create reflections of what matters to you. And that can also be mood boards that you hang up on a wall, or you can even take that mood board when you're done with it, take a snapshot of it and put it up as a wallpaper on your computer and your cell phone. So you're always looking at who am I? What do I represent? What do I feel? What do I desire? In total independence from the way, quote unquote, it is right now. And just dive in. Like I always say, and I love it so much, ignore reality at all costs and go into that creator space, moving away from the survivor reactionary space and getting into the creator space where you paint that picture of your supreme expression. And to remember that you are always choice, even when it's hard to choose. Even when it's it feels like you're going to die, if you make a choice in the direction of your true spirit. Even when it feels like the choice is going to not get you what you want, or it's going to compromise you, or it's going to be super hard. I understand. Those choices are not easy to make. But we just do what we can in the moment. We choose something, and then we look at the results, the effects of those choices, and then we tweak and alter and fix and explore little by little by little by little new choices so that you do get into the direction. And again, if you haven't been doing this, you're in a state of atrophy. And so to have compassion with yourself to, as you choose the new direction in your life, it's going to take a little time because you've been going in the momentum of one way. And now as you reclaim your power and you stop your addictions to thinking one way, you're going to move in the other way, but it'll take time. But trust me, as you get your muscles of learning how to voice your truth and ditch people who you've been compromising yourself with, you're going to get stronger. And so, in order to do that work, sometimes you need to find healers and you need to find shamans that guide you back to accessing those subconscious choices and voices so that you are, again, really speaking your truth. So I encourage you to find people like that or people on the internet, just community. Find that community. They're around you. We are here. There are so many people a part of this shift. We're growing. We're everywhere. So again, happy Independence Day. May this be the day that you declare your independence from the way you have been doing it and your independence from the way things currently, quote unquote, are. And ignore that shit and get right out of there and start to really align with what feels great to you. And again, all of this is going to be taken and put on the podcast. And if you are, or if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe on the YouTube channel and the notifications bell. It will allow you and I to hang out more. And that means a lot to me. It does. I'm doing it for us. I'm doing this because I love it. First and foremost, I do this because I love it. And it's my joy to be who I really am and to say certain things that are not quite popular, but will be. And to, my commitment with the Obsidian Blade is, again, to give you tools and insights so that you're cutting the shit out that no longer serves you or humanity, but also to make tangible and real this pathway of us as the children of Earth walking back to life. And when we walk back to life, that's not just, walking to a forest or something or some sort of weird eco village. Walking back to life means living in your full power as a full human being within a conscious universe that has created you and that you get to co-create. And through that connection to life, we will find more adventure available to us. And I believe that adventure will take us collectively through the stars and eventually connecting with other star cultures. And when we get there, when we hang out with these other star cultures, because we've learned to fly, we've learned to find our muscles, we've learned to really operate from our full state of magic as empowered sorcerers, witches, which is just another word for human being, we will arrive to these other star cultures, star nations as equals. And so let's remember our equality in the universe right now. Let's remember our power and start to use it. So again, if you love this episode, please give this a thumbs up, hit subscribe, notifications bell. And if you have any questions about what I've covered in this episode, please leave them below. I do read the comments. I'd love to answer anything for you, or send me a message on here on YouTube, or subscribe on Instagram. Send me a DM there. All the links for all those social media channels are below this video. And this will eventually be an audio on the podcast. Happy Independence Day. Happy Live Your Power Day. I love you so much. Always, it's a pleasure to be your friend, guide, and ally. And I will catch you again on Friday, 10 a.m. PST. See you there. Love you so much.